Olá, boa tarde. Muito bem-vindos a todos. Obrigado por estarem aqui. Essa é uma oportunidade realmente única, muito especial para todo mundo que se interessa por direito internacional, especialmente, mas também por teoria do direito e história do direito. E essa vinda do Martti Koskenniemi, que logo eu apresentarei para vocês em poucas palavras, em português, é possível graças ao esforço e ao convite do professor Alberto Amaral, que é nosso colega, amigo, professor aqui da Universidade de São Paulo, e do centro que ele dirige, que é o Centro de Direito e Relações Internacionais, que é o Orbis, e em parceria com o nosso Centro de Direito Global, aqui da Escola de Direito GV de São Paulo, que é coordenado por mim, que congrega aqui dentro da escola todos os esforços relativos ao direito internacional. Então, o professor Alberto, o Orbis, aceitaram, junto conosco, organizar essa vinda do professor Martti Koskenniemi. A estrutura dos trabalhos será basicamente uma fala de uns 40, 45 minutos pelo professor Koskenniemi, depois alguns comentários dos que estão aqui à mesa, o professor Alberto, a Fábia, eu mesmo, e aí nós vamos abrir para perguntas e reações do professor Koskenniemi. Martti Koskenniemi, assim, o bom de receber um convidado muito conhecido é que nós podemos ser econômicos na apresentação sem sermos ofensivos. É um dos maiores nomes hoje do direito internacional, é um dos escritores mais influentes nessa área. Ele faz questão de jogar um olhar sempre muito crítico e muito penetrante para o direito internacional e para os vários capítulos do direito internacional. Tem trabalhado com algumas questões centrais dessa área. Tem feito um grande esforço no que diz respeito a traçar a história do direito internacional, mas trabalhou algumas das questões teóricas mais importantes, como, por exemplo, o tema da fragmentação do direito internacional, da relação entre os regimes do direito internacional. E, para isso, ele realmente se serve de uma inteligência muito penetrante. Vocês verão isso quando forem se familiarizando com os seus textos, e também de uma experiência muito longa como membro da Comissão de Direito Internacional, mas, antes disso, também como membro do corpo diplomático da Finlândia, que é seu país de origem. Então, sem muito mais do que isso, acho que já basta. Eu vou passar a palavra ao professor Martti Koskenniemi. Please.
Well, thank you very much for that kind introduction, of which I understood about 10%, but I'm sure that you've been duly warned about what's going to come. I have to apologize first for my informal dress here. It's really for somebody coming from where the polar bears operate. You know, it's very warm, so I apologize for that. I want to thank for this very kind invitation for me, Dean, Oskar, Salem, to be here. I really feel privileged to be talking to you on 10 things you didn't know about human rights, or maybe you knew them, but they didn't tell you. I see many people in the audience that I've seen in the course of these 4 days. For you who've been following my course, I have to apologize because I'm going to impose some stuff that you know already so well. But there are others, perhaps, who might still be able to benefit from bits and pieces. So I was invited to speak on a critical approach to human rights, and I thought, well, 45 minutes, what can one do? Maybe one can just say 10 things in 45 minutes, 10 things with 3 or 4 paragraphs joining each. And let me start. So the first thing, human rights did not always exist. There is this language, of course, and a familiar ideology about human rights being inalienable, universal, indivisible, and imprescriptible. It is as if they were a part of the human, but it is human in us, and we've always been human. So there is a more or less well-articulated sense that human rights have been here always.
Let me thank Professor Salin and Alberto for this opportunity. And of course, let me expressly say that it's a privilege to have you among us, Martti. I think we are going to miss this week of fruitful and intense debate. So, well, I have the challenge to say something interesting after this talk. I think I have a little chance, but anyway, I will try. I would like to start commenting on something that we can see on the streets of São Paulo now, some pictures. These are related to this popular group movement. They are this group of people. They are placing posters in the streets of São Paulo, trying to call the attention of the neighbors and the attention of everyone else regarding our past our violent past and the human rights violations that have occurred under military rules. So they want to say that there is a torture living next door, and they also want to make this clear to everyone that is walking in the streets. So, oops, where is this? Okay. It's possible also to see the faces of the victims. There is a small story telling what this man used to be. He was tortured by Homero, the one that is living next door. And they are trying to call our attention. The importance, they are claiming the rights to truth and justice for the victims of this human rights violation. So until now we have impunity. Homero is living in his home, full of tranquility, as a retired person. Well, so we have these things going on now, a contextual experience. Considering this, it's hard not to think about the inter-American decisions on amnesty laws. Brazil was held responsible by the Inter-American Court because of our amnesty law. The same thing occurred to Peru, Chile, and Uruguay. So the court just stated pretty clearly, amnesty laws lack legal effects under international law, and we should investigate and punish and prosecute those involved in human rights violations committed during dictatorships in Latin America.
First of all, I wanted to exteriorize my grand satisfaction in coming back into Getúlio Vargas Foundation. It is a great pleasure to be here with so darling friends. I will try to discuss the topic, a critical approach to human rights, from a bit different angle. I will not properly pose specific questions for Martti, unlike Salin and Fabia, but I will try to reflect about some issues that, in my view, are very significant to understand the contemporary international society. And I don't have time enough to debate point to point raised by Martti, but I will attempt to focus on some specific topics that, in my view, present what is my standpoint about this subject. In some themes, I agree with Martti. In others, I have some divergence. I will analyze a critical approach to human rights, therefore, in two different moments. The first moment, I will present the meaning that human rights have for international relations, basically after 1945, when we have witnessed the process of dissemination and universalization of human rights. And at the second moment, I will concentrate my attention on some limits that human rights undeniably testify now.